Okay. People often ask me about Seal Crusader, and they want to know if it's any good and when they shouldn't use it. Um, in general, it's not very good, but like most things, if you have the right synergy, it's okay. And there are some situations where it's still good. Um, ironically, my gear is not that good for Steel Command yet. It kind of sucks because my main goal is to be a Ret Pally, but honestly, like I don't really have very good Ret gear compared to my Prot gear. Like when you see me dueling, a lot of times I'm wearing Prot gear for my duels because I have such better synergy. It's better for me to go one-handed shield even when I'm spec two-handed because I don't have the correct synergy to play command perfectly. But what's weird is I actually have insanely good synergy on my gear for Seal of Crusader PvP. Now, ultimately, command is better. And actually, as of like November 8th, command actually got a buff, which I guess I'll cover that later. A lot of people don't know about the whole double dipping thing. So yeah, S-Fan's gonna do even more damage now. Suck it. Anyways, but before that, this was recorded right before the command got buffed, and I just kind of wanted to showcase Crusader. And I have really, like I said, I don't have good synergy for command, even though that's what I'm trying to get. I just don't have it. But I oddly have really good synergy on my gear for a Crusader build. Now, first thing that stands off the bat, why do I have good synergy for Crusader? Well, my weapon is a bit too fast. And while that's always bad for Reckoning, it's not as bad to have a fast weapon when you're using Crusader compared to like Command. And then a problem with Crusader builds is that they're all physical. But the nice thing about that is like BRE is like the ultimate weapon. If you're gonna go all physical, I mean literally I think like 85% of my damage in this is physical or something ridiculous. In which case the armor pin on the BRE is pretty fucking awesome. So yeah, there's certain weapons that are a bit too fast that are still really nice, like Untamed Blade, BRE. These kind of weapons work really well with Seal of Crusader. Now let's talk about gear. Another problem you might run into trying to make a command build is most command builds need some mana. You might need 3,000 mana. But what's really nice about Crusader is you need like no mana ever. Like you can literally have +0 in and you'll be good to go. So Seal Crusader builds, in my opinion, they work best when you're getting healed by somebody else because yeah, it's not like a duel. I really don't think Seal Crusader works that well in duels, for example. Like I'll just name a few problems. Like, okay, take the BRE proc. In a duel, you're gonna get CC'd so much that the proc is always gonna be down, right? But in real PvP with a healer helping you, you can pretty much not be CC'd, right? So your BRE can stay stacked a lot of the time, or maybe not completely stacked, but partially stacked. Another thing is like the whole point of using a SoCru, I call SoCru a Crusader build, is the rinse and repeat factor it brings to real PvP. So like command to really do its max damage, even if you don't have to use a lot of mana, you are using mana to get the most DPS out of it. And there hits a point where you run out of mana and you just put on rank 1 seal command and keep autoing. With SoCru, if you just put on a seal and keep autoing, your damage won't go down like hardly at all. I mean, that's basically what you're doing the whole time. And then another thing that's really strong about real PvP compared to like a duel about SoCru builds, SoCru short for Seal Crusader, Um, SoCru can has an open global, and in real PvP, it's not one guy dotting you every global. It's like 6 guys just dot 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 dot. So if your global's open a lot more, you can sit there and spam cleanse on yourself. You can spam these things that you wouldn't really come up in a 1v1, or you wouldn't need to do in a 1v1. So it's just something to think about. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, well, because of Reckoning, wouldn't you just do way more damage? Like, overall, compared to SoCru? Well, the thing about SoCru is, and it was like this for most of vanilla, I think it did get changed by 1.12, 1.12 or whatever. But it says it lowers your damage, but it actually doesn't. So you get 300, if you have the improved one like I'm using, like 350 attack power, and later you get the Libram, so you get even more. But like, you attack 40% faster, and you get like 350 attack power. And okay, but what does attacking faster have to do with Reckoning? Well, the thing is, each one of your white Reckoning hits still get 350 attack power. So that's kind of how Seal of Righteousness works, where it's on every single white hit, whereas Command can only proc once per each Rec Bomb. So if you're staying in there with a dedicated healer, I mean, SoCru does a lot of damage. And then another thing about SoCru is it does kind of depend on the matchup. Like, if they're really plate heavy, SoCru's, it's not that great. But the SoCru build, you can actually pick up Command. And in fact, what I suggest you do a lot of times is just fight with SoCru as your default, and then you get on someone particularly tanky like a Shaman with a shield, you just judge Crusader on him and you start fighting with Command. It's like nothing even happened. And yeah, but it is really, man, SoCru Rec Bombs hurt pretty bad against casters. Like, I'm getting like 1300 damage white hits. And you gotta remember, it's not just the damage, you actually attack faster. So that brings up another point. SoCru, because it's like Fury warriors, you attack faster, it's really weak to attack speed debuffs. So Blessing of Freeing yourself when you're attacking Ice Mage is really important so you don't get the chilled effect. But that brings up another thing. Staying close to your target is really, really important. So in a duel, in a 1v1 situation, most fights are literally for the Paladin, CC, 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 big burst, CC, CC. You're being stuck in CC and you get one swing, right? But with the SoCru build, like, it's not like that at all in real PvP, because what happens is, like, let's say a rogue comes to CC you. Okay, the rogue CCs you and you get 4 counters, and then he vanishes and he's gonna re-enter in you, and it's all this fancy shit that they do in duels, right? To keep you CC'd. Well, they just gave you a full Rec Bomb, and before they re-enter on you, you just go click on someone and they're dead. So good job, rogue. Go ahead and jump on me, do your little combo, and then I'll kill someone. I'll kill one of your teammates, and you can come back in 5 seconds and do it again. And all your trading is basically like one healer healing me, just made me Rec Bomb your teammate and kill him. So but that being said, how it's different, it's not as bursty. Like, you need maximum burst, and that's what Command comes in for. And like, I don't have the gear to do it yet, but I will show you insane bursts later on if I get the gear. Anyways, in real PvP, you have to stick on your target more as you're attacking for like a faster. So like a Fury Warrior, to do the more damage, you have to stay on them. This means you have to use Frost Oil, and you might even want to consider Icy Chill, honestly. Maybe both, Icy Chill and Frost Oil, but at least Frost Oil. I mean, I'm always talking about Frost Oil for everything, but once again, this is one of those things where you really have to stay glued to your target because you're attacking faster. Something that's really nice though is because you're not judging Command and you're not trying to set up the Hodge Command Bomb or whatever, like I said before, your globals open a lot more. So your ability to cast Freedom and Dispel on yourself at that pivotal moment to stay on top of your opponent it's a lot easier too to stay on top of someone using SoCru. And people always joke paladins are auto attack. Well, honestly, SoCru is a bit auto attacky. One of the things that will help you do the most damage though is frost oiling your target, staying on top of them with Freedom, and then using your newly found move advantage over your opponent to get to their backside. That being said, so much of the build is actually using Freedom to get to your opponent's back to ignore their parry and dodge, that I would say that Icy Chill actually out DPS's Crusader, Lifesteal, or Fiery with this build in real PvP. Because, like, I mean, if you're fighting a survival hunter, it literally doubles your damage to hit them in the back compared to hitting them in the front. And it's really hard for someone to turn to face you when they're facing everybody else, and everyone else might be slowed, so they're all on one side of the target, but you have Freedom, so you can literally run to the other side of that hunter and hit him in the back, while everyone else is forced to face everyone else. So a lot of the things that make SoCru really good are, like I said, are not dueling situations, but are very easily manipulated in real PvP. And I'm going to say one of the advantages I mentioned earlier, I think Command overall is better, but in real PvP, especially pre-AQ40 gear, when there really just isn't spell power, and there just isn't, like, you might not be able to get as slow a weapon as you want, and you have all the int gear is just too low DPS to use, so you have to use, like, pretty much off-piece warrior gear. This is when SoCru is really strong in real PvP. Now time to mention my absolute favorite thing about doing a SoCru build in real PvP. There's always that guy on the enemy team when you're kicking ass that just hates you, and they're always going to pop all their cooldowns and try to blow you away, right? Well, what I do is I just pick whoever is on their team who's most likely to nuke the shit out of me. I actually put up the aura against whatever type. And you know what? It might not resist anything, but sometimes 60 resist. You know, in real PvP where people don't have time to always put the correct debuffs on you to lower your resist and stuff, sometimes it's really, really strong just to have 60 shadow resist. You don't know, that might actually end up stopping a whole fear. It could be game changing, and SoCru just doesn't really need Sanctity aura, so it opens up your aura. I mean, if you're fighting all melee team, fuck, just put on a Devo. Remember, it helps all your teammates too. So, like in real PvP is groups on groups fighting, so an aura helping everyone or 10% more holy damage. So that I think that's probably my favorite thing about SoCru, because I don't know how many times I just randomly resist a Shadow Bolt or a Frost Bolt that I wouldn't have resisted using a command build. Okay, so let me attempt to summarize. SoCru is usable and maybe better depending on your gear. And any gear of your choice, command would be better, but let's face it, pre-AQ40 we are pretty limited, and especially, I mean, if you get a BRE, then SoCru actually becomes pretty viable in comparison. I mean, if I had to choose between Zenrock Command or SoCru BRE, I would be hard split. Probably in real PvP, I would go SoCru, especially because you're not going to have any intellect. And it still helps with Reckoning, and as long as you stay on top of your opponents, you do really good damage. Your global's open, your aura's open for whatever aura you want, and it works really good with the decursive add-on because you have an open global a lot more often, so you can just spam decurse people and be a team player that way. Anyways guys, Deus Vult, good luck. SoCru is actually pretty good.